Today, I found some of the scariest Reddit confessions that start off normal, but by the end, they get very disturbing. And one of these confessions actually happened in my town. Without further to say, let's get into the first Reddit confession story. Alright, you guys, and the first story is about a guy named Hassan who allegedly beat up someone, which was a murder case. Let's get into the story. Years ago, I worked in a hotel kitchen in Las Vegas. Our boss, Hassan, was the kind of guy that made everyone feel uneasy. We even had a nickname for him, which was insane. One night after a shift, he invited us to have a drink with him. A few beers in, he started talking about his past. Very casually, he said once that he beat a guy up so bad in Turkey that he had to run to the United States. We didn't take him seriously, just drunk talk, right? About a month later, he went on a vacation to Mexico. After a night of drinking, he ducked into an alleyway and got caught by the police. The charge? Public urination. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he peed in the alley. Something small, something stupid, right? But that tiny mistake changed everything. Because Mexico shared records with Turkey, authorities started digging into his past and uncovered the truth. It wasn't just a fight. It wasn't just beating someone up. It was a murder charge. He was arrested that day and got sent back to Turkey, and we never saw him again. Wow. That story is crazy. People are genuinely so good at hiding their past that it would be hard to really notice that they were lying, if you guys understand what I mean. I don't know, that story just made me feel uneasy. But let's get into the next one. The second confession title is The Ride I Already Finished. I used to drive for a rideshare app, mostly late at night. One night, I picked up a woman standing alone on a quiet street. She got in the back seat and didn't say a word. The whole ride was silent. No small talk, no movement, just her. When we reached the destination, she quietly said, "Thank you." I watched her step out and disappear into the dark. This story is kind of giving me chills already. A minute later, my phone buzzed. A message from the same rider. "Hey, where are you?" I frowned. "I just dropped you off." Then she said, "That's not possible. I've been waiting here the whole time." My stomach dropped. I slowly looked into the rear view mirror. The back seat wasn't empty. Another message came through. "Then who did you let out?" Whoa. Whoa. That's crazy. That's crazy. I would never work for a rideshare app. Oh my god. What? Who did he really pick up? Let's just get into the third confession. Third confession title is The Text from My Mom. My mom died 3 years ago, and for a long time, nights were the hardest. But eventually, things got normal again. I moved into a small place by myself, kept a routine: work, dinner, TV, sleep. Last night felt like any other night. I was sitting on my couch, half watching some random show, scrolling on my phone, nothing usual, just quiet. Then my phone buzzed. I almost ignored it, but something made me look. And that's when my stomach dropped. It was my mom. Her name and her number. A message said, "Don't open the door." I just stared at it, trying to make sense of it. It had to be a glitch, right? Then, a sharp knock on the door. I froze. Another message came in. I said, "Don't open it." The knocking got louder and more aggressive. Whoever was outside knew I was there. My hands started shaking as I backed away from the door. Another text that said, "It's not me." Then suddenly, silence. My phone buzzed again. "Don't check the windows." I don't know why, but I did. There was someone standing there, smiling, perfectly still, holding a phone up to the glass with a message on my screen. "Let me in." That is so fucking creepy. I don't even know what the hell I would do in that situation. Holy shit. What would you even do in that situation? Are you guys? And the last and final confession is the one that happened in my town. The title of the confession is "The Late Night Shift on Jefferson." Let's retry that. Are you guys? And the last and final confession was the one that happened in my town. The title of the confession: "The Late Night Shift on Jefferson Ave." I've lived in Detroit my whole life. A few years ago, I worked at a late night security shift at a small warehouse of Jefferson Ave. Most nights were boring, checking cameras, doing rounds, making sure no one broke in. Sometimes you'd hear distant noise of cars on the street or trains passing over tracks. That was that. One night around 2:30 a.m., I was reviewing the security cameras when something caught my eyes. The hallway near the loading dock looked off. A door I knew I closed all day was slightly ajar. I thought the wind has blown it, no big of a deal, right? A few moments later, I saw a shadow move at the far end of the hallway and I froze. I grabbed my flashlight, went to check. The hallway was empty. Just nothing. I told myself it was a trick of the light, old cameras, or my imagination. But then, the next night, the same thing happened. This time the shadow was more clear, a figure standing at the end of the hallway, motionless. I called my supervisor and he brushed it off. Probably someone walking past outside, he said. But it didn't feel that way. The third night, I stayed later than usual. Around 4 a.m., I was in my office watching the monitors. The figure appeared again. Closer this time, and it was wearing a jacket. I ran down the hallway to confront it. The hallway was empty. No one. Nothing. Silence. I went back to the office and froze. On the monitor, the figure was still standing right in front of me in the office. I haven't left the office. I just quit that job the next day. But sometimes when I walk past that warehouse, I swear I see someone in a jacket standing in the window, just watching. Now I know, on my checklist, that security job,
Nope.
X, Jefferson Ave. I remember that. And I'm gonna make sure I never work there, bro. Alright, you guys. And if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment if you guys want a part 2 on the Reddit story times. Because today's stories were actually very crazy. I hope you guys have a good day. Make sure to like, subscribe. I think I said that before. But yeah, you guys have a good day. Love you guys.